Hello guys, in today's session what we will be doing is we'll be going through how exactly we can create a DNS zones. Okay, and after that in the last session we have deployed our backend application and MySQL database into the Kubernetes cluster. Those all the things we will be going through it. Okay, so we will install it again. Okay, and then thereafter how exactly our application can be accessed via internet. Okay, so this is our Spring Boot application that we will deploy it, and then thereafter DNS will make the entry into the DNS, and then we will access our application. Okay, so let us start it. So first what I will do is I will show you guys how exactly the application looks. Okay, so let me go to the portal. So let me show it how exactly our application looks like. So we'll go and start my AKS cluster. Okay, so AKS cluster starting, it takes a couple of minutes. Okay, so where all we have made the changes, I will show it. Ready.com. So this is our products. Okay, our DNS entry, our domain we have bought it in GoDaddy. Okay, so if you could see, this is our website, we would be managing it. Okay, so this is what we will be accessing it over the internet. So let us bring this particular up cluster. Let me open up IntelliJ as well. Usually a couple of seconds it takes in order to start it out. So here I'll explain it how exactly we have achieved it. Okay, so we would be planning to access this particular website. Okay, and currently if you could see, is it is no, it won't be responding at all. Okay, because nothing is running over there. Currently our Kubernetes is down. Okay, so our configuration, if you see, let us go to domain. Okay, manage DNS. So here what we do is if you click on the name servers, before that if you wanted to host your website, right, you need a domain registrar. So GoDaddy is a domain registrar. You need to pay, and nowadays you get it a domain for 100 £1 or 100 rupees as well. Okay, so we need to purchase it out for per year. We'll get one domain, whichever domain you wanted to do, you wanted to create it. So mothertongue.online, this is the website purchased by my company. Okay, so here in order to interact with our website, so how we do it is we need to click on here, change name server. Okay, we need to change all these 4 details. Okay, from where you get these details, it is basically we will go to our Azure. Okay, search for a DNS. If you type DNS, right, two things it will come. Okay, private DNS zone and a public DNS. Click on this public DNS zone. Okay, and then if you see here, we have mothertongue.online. Okay, so this is the DNS zone we have created, public DNS zone. So over there, what we have done here is, once you create your DNS zone, we get all these name servers. Okay, so these name servers are nothing but it is an entry point into Azure. Okay, so what we need to do is, the registrar for me is godaddy.com. Okay, so if you hit our application, nothing is coming up. Okay, so we need to log into this godaddy.com and then click on change name server. Okay, here these details, whatever the public DNS we have created, right, those details we need to mention it over. Okay, name server 1, name server 2, 3 and 4. So those details we need to update it over here and click on save. Okay. So then what it will happen is, whenever request is coming to, whenever some person enters this URL, right, it goes to GoDaddy and it picks up the name server where exactly it has to go next. So it will be navigated, the request will be navigated to Azure world, that is over here. So here, once the request reaches public DNS zone, right? Here, what we do is we create a record. Okay. So a record, here we will give a public IP address. This public IP address can be of our this public IP address can be our virtual machine public IP, which is been hosted on the Azure cloud, or it can be any of our load balancer IP as well. Okay. In order to show a bit of a demo, so what we will do here is, so if you see here, nothing is our application is not nothing is running on this particular IP address. Okay. So if you wanted to test it out, right, how you do it, go to here, and then what you do is, I hope it is visible, do a NS lookup. Okay. NS lookup for our DNS name. Okay. So we will do NS lookup. So if you see here, it will, this, whoever enters this one, right, this will be resolved to the IP address of this bit. Okay. So here, if you copy that, if you could see, the IP address is of the same bit here. The IP address what I have mentioned, it is the same IP address. Okay. So now currently nothing is running on this particular IP address. So what we will do is, our Kubernetes is up and running now. Okay. I will say helm ls. So nothing is been installed. So what we will do is, let us do run one Kubernetes pod. Okay. So what I'm saying here is kubectl run nginx image, and image, this is a beginner academy Nginx image we are giving it. Okay. So second, okay, so kubectl run, let us run this particular okay. So if you see here, we don't have any pods running on our Kubernetes cluster. Okay. So to what we will do is, for that we will run one command. Okay. So here kubectl run nginx, the name I am giving it, the image I am picking it up is basically beginner academy nginx, and the tag we have given is 1.4. Okay. Let us run this. So if you see, our pod nginx has been created. Let us go and check kubectl get pod. So our application has been up and running. Okay. So in order to access this application over the internet, how do you do that? That is basically, we need to expose it. Okay. So expose, what we are saying here is expose pod nginx, the name what we are given here. Okay. So what I'm saying is, this command, it will create a service, Kubernetes service. Okay. So what I'm saying is, expose this pod with the type as a load balancer and listening on the port 80. Okay. That is what I'm saying it. So if you want, you can check it out. kubectl get service shortcut is svc. Okay. So if you see, there is a default Kubernetes cluster IP is present. Other than that one, there is no service exists. Okay. So with the expose command, right, what we will be doing is, we'll be creating another service which is a type load balancer. Okay. Which will front our nginx pod which has been created just now. Okay. If you see, it has been created, exposed. When we say expose, it will go and create it. If you see, our nginx load balancer with our private IP, external IP, public IP is currently pending. Okay. So it will go and create it. Let us wait for a couple of seconds. So if you see, our external IP, that is a public IP, it is visible over here. Okay. Which has been deployed. If you wanted to access your application, okay, via IP address itself, you can do it. So if you see, this is our application, what we have deployed it. This is what we have said it. Welcome to demo session. Okay, date you forget it out. This is the image when I had created this particular image. Okay, so in this way you are able to access it. So this IP address, our application is hosted. That is the pod which we generated, right? This pod. Yeah, this pod is nothing but which is accessible over the internet. Okay, so if you wanted to access over the internet, you should be able to do it. Okay, with the same IP address. So now it's a next level, right? So what we wanted is our mother tongue dot online. If I say it, if I enter it, it should display me this bit. Okay, how do you achieve it? Whenever we enter this URL, it will go to GoDaddy and it will be redirected to these name servers. These name servers are of public DNS in Azure. It is present. Okay, that is what it has been configured, right? So the name server are present over here. So now we have made a record. Okay, so what you need to do is change this IP address to here. Okay, so the IP address of our load balancer, which is just now we have created it, and click on save. Okay, it has been, it says saved successfully, right? So now if we wanted to check it out, triage whether it has been up and running or not, what we do is ns lookup mother tongue. Okay, so if you see the IP address, this IP address mother tongue dot online is pointing to here, right? So this is IP address is nothing but of this. So let us go and refresh our mother tongue dot online. If I do a refresh, you would be able to see our application has been hosted here. Okay, so this is the way we try to uh, access our application. Okay, note that this is a non-secured port. Okay, ideally we won't run our application on a AT port. Okay, we will run on a HTTPS port, but for the integration purpose, in this way we will do it. In this way we have done it. Okay, so now it's a next step. The next step is basically we have developed our own backend application which will interact with our MySQL database and store our data, store our records, right? Whatever we enter it. So those details, let us do it now. Okay, so let us point our mother tongue dot online to, rather than Nginx one. So let us point into our backend application which we have built in the previous sessions. Okay, before doing that, in order to save the cost, let us go and check our services. Let us go and delete it off. We don't require our pod. Okay, the Nginx pod. So we'll say delete our pod Nginx. Yeah, it has been deleted. Our service is still up and running, so let us delete service as well. Okay, delete service, because in Azure everything it is a per minute billing. Okay, in order to save the cost, let us delete it off. We don't require this public IP address. It take couple of seconds more. See. Yeah, it has been deleted. So if I go and see get service, nothing is there. Our Nginx load balancer, it has been removed. Okay, so now let us go back to our application. Okay, I am in a backend. Okay, so let us go to our MySQL Helm chart. So if you see here, this is our Helm chart which will install a MySQL. Okay, so what we will do is we will install this Helm chart so that it will go and deploy our MySQL into our EKS cluster. So in order to check it out, we will check get pod. Okay, nothing is there, right? So we will run the command helm install. Okay, so this one is a MySQL. If you see, I am present in a MySQL folder. That is the reason we are giving dot, so that our installation gets done over here. If I do here installation is successful. Okay, if I wanted to check it out, we'll say helm list. If you see, it has been deployed. Okay, the status has been, it has been deployed. So in order to check it out, we can say get pod. So if you see, uh, our MySQL database running on our Kubernetes cluster, which we have deployed, right? So now let us go and install our backend application. Let us go to again helm install. So we'll say our backend. Okay, backend, say enter. So if you see, this has been deployed. Okay, our status, let us check the status of our helm. This is has been deployed. Okay, so let us check our pods. Okay, kubectl get po. Po stand for a pod. So it has been up and running. Okay, our employee app has been up and running. So let us check the service as well. SVC stand for a service. Our employee app service is running on external IP, that's a public IP, which is running on a 80 port. Okay, now let us access the same URL. Okay, so if you see, our it is responding it, but the main bit is we need to pass our and the context path I had given is app dot api.v1.employees. Let us hit it. So if you see at the corner side, it says empty. Okay, there are no records are present. Okay, so our application. So if you wanted to enter anything on this particular data in or call this particular API, what we do is we use a postman, right? So if you see here, this is our post call. So let us copy this URL. Okay, copy this URL. We'll make a changes over here. Okay, what we will do is we'll call this API. So first what we'll do is we'll do get call. If you see empty, nothing is there. The post call, I'll mention demo today is 12th July, 8th July, 8th July. I will say last name is via public IP. Okay, public IP. Okay, that is what we are just doing it, right? So we will amend the data like that. If you see the first records, it has been added. If you wanted to via postman itself, if you wanted to get the result via API call, you would be able to see the get these details, the same details. Okay, so if you wanted to check it out via browser also, you would be able to see demo 8 July, last name is via public IP. Okay, so our application is up and running, but it is running on a IP address. Okay, we don't want that, right? So I wanted to access it via like this. Okay, so for what we need to do in this case, we need to go back to our mother tongue.online, click on here. Okay, here change this IP address from that to our new external IP address. Go back here, click on save. It has been saved successfully. So if I go and refresh this bit, okay, we need to call complete URL rather than this bit. Okay, enter it here. So if you could see mother tongue.online, our API is, we are able to access it. Okay, so if anyone wants to access it, right? So I will put it over here, our chat. If you wanted to make any post call, right, you should be able to do it. Okay, chats. you wanted to run a command, you should be able to do that. Okay, so if you wanted to do it via command line as well, right? So the post command, okay, I will give you the curl URL as well. So if you wanted to run that via curl, you should be able to do it. Okay. If you wanted to test it out, you can go and test it out. What I will do here is now, so our API is accessible over like this. Okay, so next step what we wanted to do is we wanted to take it further. Okay, we wanted to consume this API via let us via postman as well. We wanted to run it. Okay, so let us copy this. Okay, I will say demo 8th July. It is a via website URL. Okay, so I'm accessing it via website, right? So I'll post it. Okay. Went wrong via website. I will send it again. So if you see, second record it has been added. We'll go and check it out here. The second, you should be able to see website via website. Okay, that is what we are able to see it. So now as a next step, right, we wanted to test the same application. This is our APIs, right? This API, someone wants to use it, right? They should be able to add, use this particular API calls. Okay, how exactly they can do it? It is, we will introduce a front end. Okay, the front end, we had a front end application for us. So let me go here. Okay, so this is our front end. What I will do is, okay, instead of this, but what I do is, we'll try to access the same application via front end. Okay, npm start. This is a front end application, so this we wanted to test it out. Okay, so if you see here, the same application, the two records, our backend and the database, right? All the records, we are able to fetch it out of from our front end. Okay, so if you wanted to update it, you can go and update it. I'll say instead of it is done via public IP. Okay, I'll save it. Same thing, it is updated. So if you wanted to see it here, it has been updated. Our application. Okay, so you wanted to add a new record. Okay, the API is over the internet. Okay, you should be able to access it. I'll say Sangam Beginner Academy. Okay, I'll say my mail. It's a I'm not doing any validation. I'll say click save. So if you see the record, it has been added. Okay, so if you wanted to check it over here, you should be able to do it. It is over the internet. Okay, anyone over the internet should be able to access it. Okay, yeah, so if you refresh the same thing, you should be able to see it over here as well. So if you wanted to delete it off, if you wanted to view it, you can view it. If you wanted to delete it off, you should be able to delete it off. If you wanted to add, you can test it out. Okay, click on save. This particular bit that has been added. Okay, so couple of things we did in this particular session. What we did was DNS. Okay, via DNS, how exact via our GoDaddy, how we need to interact. Okay, uh, how you can create this bud and how you can interact it. Okay, the same exercise we will try to redo it. Okay, I'll try to pick a new name. Okay, so I will go for, yeah, super app okay, DNS. I'll go. If you see here, this is all it is pointing to Azure. So what I will do is I wanted to make this application as same thing. Okay, so how do you do that? You have to create a public DNS zone. Okay, click on here. Okay, so I will select a resource group. If you want to create a new one, you can create the same thing. So resource group DNS exists. I will use the same thing. I will say here in the name that Google Daddy in the GoDaddy what it has been given, right? Our DNS name, same thing. We'll use it. Okay, use that. Click on tags. We are not interested in tags. We'll say review. Validation has been passed. Well, let us go and create it. Okay, so it may take couple of minutes. We'll see. So once if you see our new DNS zone, it has been created. If you go and check it out, you should be able to see. And one resources. This is our new names for servers. Okay, so I'll copy. I need to go and update it. Copy this bit. This, the last one is here. Okay. Click on save. It usually takes sometimes it is a bit faster, and sometimes it is takes more time. Okay. Okay, so see, it looks to me it's recorded. Okay, I mean it is getting reflected. We'll see if we are unable to GoDaddy this name server, if it doesn't understand, right, sometimes it takes the caching of to flush in order to flush this caching, right, it takes 24 hours. Okay, we'll see if it works out. We will I will demo it. If not, probably in the next session as well I can show it out. Okay, so now next bit is we need to create a e-record in our DNS, right? Private DNS. Go to super app.in. I'll click on record set. I will say star here. Okay? Star meaning whatever it comes up, right? Everything it will be redirected to this e-record. Okay. So for the sake of it, what I will do is I will use the same application. I will say particular address. Hit it. Click on OK. Okay, it has been created. So now let us go and check the NS lookup. Okay. Do NS lookup. If it resolves it, we should be able to access it. Still says it's failed. Okay. So we will give it a minute. Okay. Okay. So if you have any questions, right? So probably I will open up uh, the interactive question and answer session. So in the meantime, right, so if it picks it up, we will test it out here as well. Okay, if not, then probably in tomorrow's session I will show you guys. Okay, so what I will do is I will open up a question and answer session now and close this particular YouTube live session today. Okay, let us if you have any questions, right, you can ask the question now. ask the question in our interactive session. Okay, so I'll ping the interactive session link. Whoever wants to ask the question, right, you should be able to ask.